Hey everybody, how's it going? This is just a little ramble video. The Deathwatch role-playing game is out to buy. You should definitely find it probably at local gaming / comic stores. That if the comic stores carry role-playing games, which I find at least a few of them do around locally, unless they're primarily devoted to comics. Usually they have a little section for role-playing games, but definitely local gaming stores will probably carry a little bit of this. Bookstores will also carry it usually. Barnes and Nobles and Borders are the local ones around me. I don't really know of any other chain bookstores except maybe Walden Books, if they still exist. Barnes and Noble, the big Barnes and Noble stores, at least locally, usually have a pretty good selection. And when I say big, I mean like the big two-story ones. As far as standard size, the one-floor standard size bookstore, Borders of that size usually has a little bit better selection of role-playing games, especially recently. But the bigger stores, Barnes and Nobles, I think wins out on the selection. Either way, either one should probably have it. If they don't, you don't want to order it through Amazon, and you can order it through them, no problem. A little bit of background about Deathwatch is, of course, an Autoxenos book, essentially role-playing book where you play a Deathwatch kill team member, a Space Marine Deathwatch kill team member. And it's a cool, unique challenge to role-play a Space Marine, I believe. They are different in belief and raising and what they are when you compare them to humans. So anyway, so you play as one of those guys, Space Marine Deathwatch kill team member. And they have 6, because for those who don't know anything about the Deathwatch, they are not an official Space Marine chapter. They're not like the Grey Knights where they're one chapter. What they do is, Space Marine chapters have like oaths or other agreements with Autoxenos, with the Deathwatch, to second members of their chapter to the Deathwatch for a period amount of time. I don't know exactly how long. I think it varies. Like Watch Commanders, I think, are there a little bit longer. But anyway, and they send pretty much anything from, I think in the fluff of the Deathwatch overall, not in this book, but in the Deathwatch existence, I think they sent over dreadnoughts at one point, or at least there was a dreadnought in the Deathwatch at some point, chaplains, librarians, captains, and apothecaries, tech marines, and your standard battle brothers from tactical assault, devastator, and so on. So a variety of Space Marine chapters do it: Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Ultramarines, so on and so forth. So they have 6 represented in the book here. They got Blood Angels, Storm Wardens, Ultramarines, Dark Angels, Black Templars, and Space Wolves. I forgot. I had a little brain lapse there. But those are the 6 represented. Now, I did some digging, and there are books coming out in the future to give you more. I call them supplemental books. They're there to kind of give you more rules and war gear and things to do and to take your money. But in one of them should be a detailed section on how to create your own Space Marine chapter to use in Deathwatch. And I think that's pretty cool, because not only representing your own homebrew chapters if you want them, but you could use it to represent the chapters not in here, like the Imperial Fist, the Blood Ravens, the Raven Guard, the Salamanders, the Hawk Lords, the Marauders, whatever one you want that already exists. You could probably make up rules for utilizing that section when that book comes out. I think that comes out early 2011 or late in the winter of this year. I don't really know, to be honest with you, because there's no real official date for it. So, anyway, Deathwatch is a 3rd book in a series of books, essentially. There's 3 different types of books in the 40k role-playing universe right now. It's Dark Heresy, where you play an expendable. You start off as really lowly and expendable, but an Inquisitorial's Acolyte squad type of thing. You are part of an Inquisitor's retinue. and you do kind of like the investigative intrigue type of stuff there. And there's Rogue Trader, where you kind of do more of the freelance type of move out, your own work, and it has rules for ships and stuff like that. Essentially doing what Rogue Traders do, which could be ferrying around Inquisitor and his retinue. It could be to try and recolonize a planet or reestablish connections with a planet that was, lost for a little bit or something like that. Finding lost archaeotech, whatever. And in each book there are unique classes. And then the third book is Deathwatch. And you can combine the three, but each one's at a different power level, if you want to think about it that way. Dark Heresy is the first book, the beginning book, the beginner's book, I guess if you want to think about it that way, as though you don't need it. Each book is its own self-contained game. So, but Dark Heresy would have the weakest power level. Then Rogue Trader would be like kind of almost mid-range in power level, with Deathwatch being at the high end of the power level. And they tell you in each book how to incorporate the other books in there if you want to. I don't suggest doing with Deathwatch because, at least in my opinion, part of the fun is having a full player party full of Space Marines and a Deathwatch kill team. And they have rules to give you bonuses for having a squad of them. But anyway, so that's cool. If you're a fan of Space Marines and of role-playing games and of the 40k fluff, you should definitely check it out. I've ran in Dark Heresy games in the past. They're lots of fun. They're a blast. I haven't done Rogue Trader, but I do want to do like a combined Rogue Trader and Dark Heresy, or just a Rogue Trader game. But I definitely also want to run this Deathwatch game because I'm a huge fan of Space Marines, especially the Deathwatch kill teams. So should be pretty cool. But I know the systems are exactly the same. How you play a character is, aside from specific things for being a Space Marine or being whatever, is essentially the same. And I can tell you that it's a lot of fun to play this type of. It's not a unique game mechanic system, but this system they use is a lot of fun. And I suspect, as a competent Space Marine, it should be even more fun for the players and the game master. One thing I will say as was, I was surprised to see they had, they have carapace armor in there, but they also have the power armor, of course. I was surprised to see that they had both Artificer armor rules and Tactical Dreadnought, aka Terminator armor rules in there as well. I thought that was very cool. So that was definitely a bonus. Lots of cool war gear and special items and consumables and stuff like that, and rules. I pretty much just skimmed over character creation and the armory section right away, so I didn't get too in depth, but it looks pretty standard for this type of gaming system, and from my experience with Dark Heresy and looking over Rogue Trader in the past. One thing I will say, as plagues any role-playing book, is there are a couple of errors in any first edition, essentially, and what this pretty much is, of a new role-playing game. There's tons of errors, like spelling, grammatical, some things left out, and it happens to every book. The more rushed the book is, the bigger the problems, which can really kill a game. Really, I think they did a decent job with this one. There is one glaring thing that I've noticed so far. In the Devastator Marine entry, usually for each entry they have like starting skills and starting talents and whatnot. There's only starting talents or starting special abilities for the Devastator Marine. There's nothing starting skill wise, which means maybe he just doesn't have any bonus starting skills, which I think is a little unlikely, but possible. So there's a chance that in the errata they'll put that in the errata. But other than that, don't let that scare me from getting it. Every role-playing game, be it fantasy or sci-fi, will have those problems. It's not just Fantasy Flight, it's White Wolf and D&D and all that, so it happens. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Again, if you're a fan of Space Marines and of role-playing games, check it out. If you're not a fan of role-playing games, it's not worth it to pick it up just because it's got Space Marine stuff in it. At least I don't think it would be. But if you do enjoy sitting down to either run or play in a tabletop role-playing game, I think it's definitely worth picking up. The system, if you've never played any of the other two, is I think pretty easy to pick up. And if it's wanted by the community, I can do another video on the basics for playing in one of these type of games, be it Dark Heresy, Rogue Trader, or Deathwatch. That's no problem. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And until next time, take it easy.